One thing that has revolutionized our winter fishing game is going weedless. So we've used regular jig heads with an exposed hook, and we've had many days where we've lost lots and lots of baits, sometimes 30, 40, or 50 baits in one day, depending on where we're fishing, if we're fishing in a really snaggy area. So by going weedless, it's really changed our game big time. It's allowed us to be more efficient. Baits are in the water longer. We're catching more fish. I want to show y'all this jig head offering from Z-Man. It's called the Snake Locks. It's been a very, very useful jig head for us. It's a 4/0 hook with really the most important part of this device is this little lead catch mechanism up here where the hook bends. So this is really just a kind of a weedless worm hook with this added piece of lead, and it has a jig head on a swivel here where it pivots, which makes it swim a little bit better. This is a 3/8 ounce, which is a popular weight for us to use in the river here. But I want to show you how to rig these things. So in order to rig the Snake Locks jig head, it's just like rigging any other weedless bait. Just like rigging a plastic worm for bass fishing, you're going to insert the hook point at the top of the bait. Make sure it's nice and centered, not to one side or the other. And you're going to exit the point of the hook right at the very top of the weedless slot. This is your weedless slot in the bait, in the belly of the bait. And you're going to pull it through to where that lead catch mechanism catches the upper part of that weedless slot. And then you're going to turn the hook 180 degrees and reinsert the point up through the middle of the bait at the proper distance. And you want to make sure you measure that distance very carefully so that you don't have tension on the bait or potentially even slack in the bait between your hook point and the top. Because what that'll do is if it's not measured correctly, it will swim sideways or wobble or potentially twist while you're swimming it. So having it perfectly centered in the middle of the bait, not to one side or the other, is very, very important. So that your hook point will sit right down in that, what I call the fin slot, where it's not really, if you really want to make it truly weedless, you can insert the hook back into the bait like that so it's buried in there, or you can just leave it exposed in the slot like that, and that's 99% of the time you're going to go over a log and not get hung up. It's very important to properly measure your bait from here to here. You do not want too much tension on the body or conversely slack in the body. That will cause the bait not to swim properly. This setup has just been an amazing tool for us while river fishing. I just can't say enough good things about it. We use it with the 4-inch diesel minnow and the 5-inch diesel minnow primarily, but you can also rig it on a soft plastic jerkbait if you want to jig fish. So it's just highly versatile and will save you a lot of headache out here getting hung up. The hookup ratio is very similar to a regular jig head. You may miss a bite or two here and there, but when a fish hits that, he's going to mash the bait out of the way, and the hook's going to be exposed, and he's going to get hooked 99% of the time. So I haven't noticed a big enough difference to make me want to go back to a traditional jig head. But there's a time and a place for this, and you better have some in your tackle box if you're going to be river striper fishing in North Carolina.